Okay. Um, so this is the Stronghold Digital Mining Daily Update. Today's Monday, October 9th, 2023. We're going to focus on Stronghold Digital Mining, and in particular, we're going to focus on this question that came up just in a conversation I had actually with regard to hey, why, is it possible that the company may not be releasing Bitcoin production numbers anymore? I don't think that's the case. And the reason why I say that is because if we were to visit the Stronghold Digital Mining Twitter page, the X page, I have to get used to saying X, the X page, you'll see that right around the time, well, let me explain it this way. So Stronghold released their, basically that would have been their August Bitcoin production numbers in a manner that they've typically done so in the past, right? It was just kind of like a text excerpt of the press release and then I believe a link to the press release, right? Or to the news release. But then a couple days later, right around the time of the company's participation in the H.C. Wainwright Global Investor Conference, the company published a very, I think, elegant and very, I think, sort of like designed graphic that demonstrated what the Bitcoin production numbers were for the month of August. I don't think that from a strategic perspective, you'd go from, hey, it's a text update to now, hey, we're upgrading to like a graphical update to then saying, hey, we're just not going to provide updates anymore. So I am very confident that we will get a September Bitcoin production number for Stronghold Digital Mining. So why haven't we gotten this update yet? Well, there are several potential reasons. Okay. One reason may just be a technical reason. Hey, we're kind of grappling with maybe some technical issues insofar as being able to, really calculate maybe what the number would have been for September. That's certainly one possibility. I'd place the odds of that being the actual reason quite low, probably less than 10%. There's also the possibility that, I'm just tossing this out there. Hey, what if the company would have lost access to its X account, or like more of a technical issue that way, or even maybe there was an issue, a miscommunication, a technical issue with regard to communicating the news release to the news release, service. So, something like that. So still a technical issue, but more of a less about figuring out how much Bitcoin was mined, but rather, hey, how do we, sort of like overcome some technical challenges, be it in-house or with some of the service providers that we use as it relates to releasing this information. There too, I'd probably say that's like, 10% or less. So, technical issues as a whole, let's just say probably 20% in aggregate or less, right? Of that being the case. There is, I think, a third possibility. And this is the possibility that I'd sort of arbitrarily assign more of like an 80% probability to, okay? And that is that behind the scenes, something is happening. Something really potentially quite remarkable is happening. Something really exciting is happening. And that from a strategic perspective, the thinking is, hey, why don't we wait? Let's not put out our Bitcoin production numbers until we can also, right, announce some new development. Now, there are a number of different things that this new development could pertain to, and we've discussed those things on this channel at length. As I've said before, I think that the higher, there's a higher, sort of like odd level. What am I saying here? I think the odds are higher that the event would have to do with the 25 megawatts of end-to-end data center equipment that Stronghold Digital Mining already owns. I think that is more likely because we've gotten not guidance, it's not formal guidance per se, but we've gotten sort of during our investor presentations, right? We've gotten during the Q&A sessions a little bit of context and color and like a little bit of a sense of the timing of that. And the thinking had been, well, maybe by the end of the third quarter, or if not, then sometime in the early part of the fourth quarter. So we are in the fourth quarter of 2023. And so I suspect that given the fact we have not gotten a Bitcoin production number, that there's a reasonable chance that we're simply, right, the company is simply waiting until everything is sort of in place to make the big announcement. There's an outside chance that the big announcement might be like a really big announcement, where it's not only, by the way, this is where 25 megawatts of end-to-end data center capacity is going to go, but also we have signed a deal, maybe, I'm just kind of hypothesizing here. Hey, we've signed a deal with a company like, for example, carbon upcycling. And we're going to basically be able to capture and utilize the carbon dioxide, right, the CO2 that we produce at both Scrubgrass and Panther Creek. That's going to now be used in combination with a portion of our beneficial use hash to create, a sort of like a supplementary cementitious material that can be utilized in cement or something to that effect. I don't know that the odds of that are very high, only because I do think there are a number of technical issues, not to mention just financial issues that would really need to kind of be ironed out to sort of like make that happen. But that's a possibility. Now, is there potentially something else that's going on? A potential merger, a potential acquisition, a potential takeover of Stronghold Digital Mining. These are all certainly possibilities as we approach the Bitcoin halving in approximately 6 months. I would assign a fairly low probability to that, at least right now. We're going to find out soon enough, right? It could be as simple as, hey, the individual who's charged with putting out the news release and, sort of like broadcasting what our September Bitcoin production numbers happen to have been, that individual was on a well-deserved vacation. It could be anything, right? I mean, so it's important that we try not to read too much into this, right? Because there could be a number of very just kind of ordinary reasons for the fact that, hey, we haven't gotten that data yet. But given what we know, given what we've talked about, given what our friends in management have sort of alluded to during investor presentations, I don't think it's that sort of, it's not that big of a leap to at least speculate a little bit as to what could be going on. And that's essentially what we're doing. We're speculating. Okay. I'm certainly not privy to, any more or any less information than you are. Yes, I do a lot of reading. I re-listen to things bunches of times, and I sometimes pick up little throwaway sentences that then, with some additional research, I kind of, try to paint out a fuller picture of what may be going on. And that's certainly true in the case of my speculating that maybe Stronghold Digital Mining is potentially looking into a collaboration with carbon upcycling. I mean, we've certainly never, as far as I'm aware, we've never really mentioned any specific company that we might be working with as it relates to, trying to help the environment by capturing the carbon dioxide, right? The CO2 that's being emitted from our purpose-built waste coal reclamation facilities. But having done a lot of research, I just think that, our beneficial use ash, at least a portion of it, could very well be well suited to the process which carbon upcycling has created. But you know what? There are a lot of other companies out there. Again, this is all speculation on my part. But I think as it relates to the 25 megawatts of end-to-end data center equipment, there's nothing to speculate about there. We have it. We own it. We've got it. It's just a matter of announcing, hey, this is where we're going to put it. And furthermore, this is how we plan to fill that data center with Bitcoin mining machines so that we can mine Bitcoin and do something that's pretty amazing. Last year, August of last year, it looked like we were turning in the keys. We weren't going to really be Bitcoin mining anymore. We're already back to 4 exahash. It would be quite a remarkable thing if Stronghold Digital Mining is able to bring another roughly exahash of Bitcoin mining capacity online this year. That being said, I think we all agree that we need to be very careful with our capital, right? We need to be very conservative with the way we manage it, and we've done that, right? We've been very, very efficient in the way in which the company has allocated capital. So I anticipate that whatever the news may happen to be as it relates to this 25 megawatts of end-to-end data center infrastructure, my expectation is that it's going to be done in a manner that, for better or for worse, is like the very best that we could do for the business. I shouldn't say for better or for worse, because there's really no worse here. The only potential worse is that we succumb to the temptation, which seems to be a temptation that a lot of publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies fall into, of kind of running around talking about how big their exahash is, right? Hey, look at the size of my Bitcoin mining capacity. And, at the end of the day, right, hey, we're doing this to make money. And generating profitable revenue is really, really important. Okay, we don't want to be, right, a company that says, hey, we've got, a bazillion exahash. Look at that. We've got the biggest exahash in the market. But we didn't do the math, and now we're at the brink of insolvency, or something kind of like bad like that. Okay, let's see what happens today. We've got a full week ahead of us. We have not, I don't believe, heard anything from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. So if they choose not to appeal the appellate court's ruling regarding, Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust, I think by the end of this week, we may potentially have a path forward to the beginning of a Bitcoin ETF, a spot Bitcoin ETF here in the United States of America. Okay, that's going to be all for now. Let's all stay positive. Let's be great, and we'll see each other again tomorrow.